For years, my family mocked my online venture until I earned $1.2 million and left their darling star stunned at her own graduation bash. I'm Ethan, 31 years old, and if there's one lesson I've learned about family, it's that they'll cheer for you fiercely unless your achievements make them uneasy. I never followed the conventional path. While my relatives were off at college chasing degrees in law, medicine, or anything that earned them family pride, I was tucked away in my old bedroom, building an e-commerce business from nothing. It started with custom phone cases, then expanded to hoodies. Soon, it exploded. While they were polishing CVs and begging for internships, I was filing taxes for my LLC and overseeing 6 figures in inventory. But to my mom, I was still finding my way. That's how I was introduced at family gatherings and weddings. This is Ethan, he's sorting things out, as if my business didn't exist until some corporate suit validated it. The breaking point came at my cousin Lily's graduation party. She was 23, fresh out of a prestigious university with a degree in global studies, and the family's pride and joy. You know the kind. Student council leader, fluent in 3 languages, volunteers at food banks, and somehow looks like a movie star in every photo. Growing up, I had no beef with her. We were polite, not super tight, but not enemies either. Yet Lily always carried this vibe, like she expected applause after every sentence. Her parents, my Aunt Lisa and Uncle Mark, fed into it. Every tiny milestone got a party, a framed certificate, a group text, and a social media post titled Lily's Big Win. When I got the invite to her graduation party, I knew the drill. A fancy backyard event at their suburban house, complete with fairy lights, Prosecco, and a pricey tent rental. What I didn't expect was the role they'd shove me into. I arrived early to dodge the chaos, only to be greeted by Aunt Lisa waving a bright orange vest like I'd just punched in for a shift. Ethan, perfect. Can you handle parking? We've got cars lining up down the block. No greeting. No glad you're here. Just a vest, a walkie-talkie, and a pat on the shoulder, like I was some college kid moonlighting as a valet. I stared at her. I'm not working the party, Lisa. I'm here to celebrate. She chuckled like I'd cracked a joke. Just help for an hour, okay? You're good with logistics, right? That little online thing you do? I should have walked away right then. I should have handed back the vest and said no, but some deep-rooted family loyalty made me take it. I spent the first hour and a half directing SUVs onto the lawn and helping older relatives navigate uneven ground with their canes. No one came to relieve me. No one offered me a drink. When I finally sat down at a folding table in the corner, sweaty and covered in dust, the real party was already in full swing. A huge banner stretched across the yard. "Congrats, Lily!" in shimmering gold. A red ribbon draped over the driveway gate, hiding what looked like a brand new Honda CR-V. Guests mingled around the dessert table, sipping drinks and nibbling appetizers. My mom, seated front row, gave me a half-hearted wave like she'd raised Lily herself. I spotted my name scribbled on a place card tucked behind a decorative plant near the buffet, far from the main tables. Lily was radiant. She wore a cream dress that caught the light with every step, gliding from table to table like she was campaigning for mayor. When someone handed her a microphone, she tapped it theatrically before laughing. "Thanks for being here, everyone," she said, raising her glass. "It's amazing to be surrounded by people who value dedication and real education, especially when it's so easy to get sidetracked by online side gigs." She looked right at me. The pause was deliberate, the jab surgical. And the response? Laughter. Real laughter. My Uncle Mark snorted. My cousin Ryan coughed up his drink. Even my mom gave a strained, embarrassed smile, like she was trying not to laugh, but couldn't resist. Heat crept up my neck. I stared at the condensation dripping down my untouched drink, willing myself to stay calm. Not yet. Lily pressed on, unfazed. Or maybe just bold. Some of us spent 4 years earning a degree that actually means something. No offense. More chuckles. She clinked glasses with a few nearby guests and handed back the mic like she'd just nailed a sitcom scene. My mom glanced at me, shrugged slightly, and said, "She didn't mean it." Sure, I didn't care about the car. I didn't care about the banner, the speech, or how every photo conveniently cut me out, standing by the fence like some forgotten caterer. What stung was years of quiet dismissals, eye rolls when I tried to explain my work. My own mom would gloss over my updates to gush about which of Lily's professors once advised a senator. But as I sat there, dust on my shoes and a drink in hand, something shifted inside me. I waited until the final toast ended. The applause faded, and people drifted to the dance floor where a speaker blared pop hits. I stood, brushed off my clothes, and strolled to the main table where Lily and her friends were posing for photos by the car, still buzzing from the cheers. "Hey, Lily," I said, loud enough for nearby ears to catch. She froze mid-laugh, clearly not expecting me to speak. "Yeah?" she asked, eyes narrowing. I raised my glass with a grin. Congrats, really? Must feel great to have that degree, and it's awesome your family's got your back like this. I took a long sip. My little online side gig cleared $1.2 million this year. Nice Honda, though. Dead silence. Lily's smile locked in place. Someone behind her dropped a spoon. My uncle's jaw hit the floor. My mom blinked like she couldn't process the words. I didn't stick around for the fallout. I nodded, turned, and walked toward the gate. I heard someone whisper, "Wait, what did he say?" I didn't stay to find out. As I walked down the gravel path to my car, I felt their stares burning into my back. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I'd said my piece, and I knew that moment would ripple through the party like a stone in calm water. I hadn't planned to speak up. Really, I hadn't. But years of being the family's overlooked footnote, the guy stuck with the short end of every conversation, and a long list of favors had finally piled up. And Lily's smug little dig, that was the final push. When I drove off, no one chased after me. Not yet. By the time I pulled into the driveway of my sleek 3-bedroom house, bought outright last year, my phone was already buzzing. First, a text from my mom. "That was uncalled for, Ethan. You humiliated everyone." Then another, "We'll talk later. Don't make it a big deal." Then Aunt Lisa, "Was that really necessary? Lily worked hard for her degree. You're not the only one with achievements." I didn't reply. I turned off my phone, tossed it on the counter, and let the quiet of my home settle over me. That night, I slept better than I had in months. The aftermath came in waves. Monday morning, I opened my work email to find 3 new interview requests. Apparently, one of Lily's friends had looked up my business post party and was impressed by what we'd built. Built, not stumbled into. That word meant something. A month ago, I might have passed the inquiries to my assistant. Now, I took the calls myself. I wanted people to hear my story. Tuesday evening, my mom showed up at my door. No heads up. Just a doorbell ring, her clutching a plastic container like it was 2006, and I was a broke student needing chili and a pep talk. I opened the door slowly. "Hi," she said too softly. "I brought food." I stepped aside to let her in. She lingered in the entryway, scanning my living room like it was her first time seeing it. The clean lines, local artwork, smart lighting, all screaming success in a way she'd never bothered to notice. "You've done well," she said finally. "Yeah," I said. "I have." She set the container on the counter. "You embarrassed Lily and us. She's crushed." I crossed my arms, leaning on the kitchen island. "Mom, she mocked me in front of everyone. I didn't start it. I ended it." "But $1.2 million? She said it like it was a crime, like saying it aloud would summon the tax man. "It's true." She froze, jaw tight. "Why didn't you tell me?" I laughed, not cruelly. "I did. You just didn't listen. You preferred the version of me who needed fixing. That fit your story. Ethan, the dropout, still figuring it out. You could feel sorry for me. But I stopped needing that a long time ago." She sat heavily, like my words had knocked the air out of her. "I wasn't trying to pity you," she said quietly. "Weren't you?" I asked. "Why was Lily always the golden child, while I was just the kid selling phone cases in his room?" She had no answer. Instead, she said, "Lily's job hunting, you know." "Nothing's panned out yet." I gave a tight smile. "So the degree didn't unlock every door after all?" That got me a glare. "Don't be mean." "I'm not. I'm just done pretending I haven't earned my place." She stood, brushing imaginary lint off her shirt. "She wants to apologize," she muttered. "Does she?" I raised an eyebrow. She said she went too far. I didn't respond. I wasn't convinced. Not yet. That night, I checked my phone for the first time since Saturday. Lily's texts sat unread. "Hey, about the party? I shouldn't have said that. It was wrong. Can we talk?" I stared at it, not because I didn't know what to do, but because the power had shifted and everyone felt it. For years, they thought I was scraping by on a pipe dream. Nope. I'd built an empire while they weren't watching. The next weekend, things escalated. Aunt Lisa called. No warning, just a voicemail. "Ethan, we need to talk. We're in a bit of a bind financially. I hate to bring this up, but your uncle's hours were cut, and Lily's car payments are tough to manage. Things got heated, but we're family, right?" It clicked. They weren't just embarrassed, they wanted something. I listened to the message twice, not to hear it again, but because I couldn't believe the nerve. Days earlier, I was the family punchline, directing cars in a vest. Now, I was their lifeline. I didn't call back. I let it sit, let them wonder if I'd heard it. Let the tension build. I knew this game. First the mockery, then the silence, Then the sudden "we're family" card when they needed a favor. And this was a big favor. I opened a spreadsheet I'd kept for years. Not obsessively, just methodically. Every cent I'd ever covered for this family. From the $300 I lent Ryan for books he never repaid, to the $2,000 I gave Lisa and Mark when their basement flooded 2 winters back. Every favor was guilt-tripped out of me. I paid every bill quietly to keep the peace. The total? $42,860, not counting interest, not counting the emotional toll, not counting the way they treated me like a walking ATM with no real accomplishments. I stared at the number. Then I took a deep breath and started drafting a message to Lily. Hey, got your text. Thanks for the apology, but I'm thinking it's time for some honesty. For everyone's sake. You're right, you worked hard. But that doesn't justify belittling someone else's success, especially when you don't get it. More than that, I've spent years propping up this family. Money, time, energy, and all I got was dismissal. I'm done. I read it twice. No malice, no gloating. Just a boundary. I sent a version of that to my uncle, aunt, and more gently, my mom. She called immediately. Ethan, can we talk? You can't just... Yes, I cut in, calm and firm. I can. And I did. Silence on the line. For once, she had no script. Did you really make over $1 million last year? Yes. How? You never asked. Another long pause. What do you want us to do? She asked, voice small. That question lingered. Because that was it, wasn't it? I didn't want them to do anything. I just wanted them to stop expecting me to carry everything. I ended the call. Not out of spite, but because I didn't owe anyone a performance. The mask was off. The vault was locked. The family's joke had run its course. Lily didn't reply to my message for 2 days. I figured she was either fuming, crafting a polished response, or too mortified to speak. I didn't care. I'd said what I needed to. The weight of years, guilt, obligation, the constant sense of being seen but never valued, had lifted. For the first time in ages, I felt free. Then on day 3, I got a calendar invite. Subject, coffee with Lily Summers. Time, Saturday, 10 a.m., Cafe Willow downtown. I stared at it, debating whether to decline. But curiosity won. I accepted, not expecting a sincere apology, but wanting to look her in the eyes and see if anything real lay beneath her polished facade. Saturday came, gray and drizzly, fitting. I arrived 10 minutes early, ordered a plain black coffee, no fuss. Lily showed up 5 minutes late, in a beige blazer, heels, and a carefully curated, humble expression. Even in the rain, she dressed like she expected a spotlight. Ethan, she said with a small smile, sitting across from me. Thanks for coming. Didn't think you'd show, I said quietly. Me neither, she said. But here we are. We sat in silence for a moment. She stirred her latte like it was a masterpiece. I read your message, she said finally, twice. Okay. And you're right. I raised an eyebrow. I was horrible, she said. Not just at the party, for years. I mocked your work because I didn't get it. And honestly, I was envious. That threw me. Envious? I repeated. Yeah, she said, looking away. You found your path. You made it work. I'm sitting here with a fancy degree, no job, and a car my parents can't afford. The jab at the party? It wasn't really about you. It was me trying to feel better about my mess. I let her words sink in, not rushing to absolve her. I wasn't sure I wanted to. I hear you, I said slowly. But that doesn't erase years of digs, of being treated like I'm less, by everyone, including my own mom. I know, she whispered. That's on me. And them. All of us. I nodded, staring at the rain streaking down the window. Why'd you really ask me here, Lily? She bit her lip. Not for money, I swear. Good, because that door's shut. She nodded quickly. I get it. I didn't come to ask for anything, I just wanted to own it. In public. I frowned. Public? She pulled out her phone, opened her Instagram, turned it toward me, and hit record on a story. Hey, everyone, she said with a nervous smile. This is awkward, but I need to say something. At my graduation party, I took a cheap shot at online businesses and people who forged their own paths. It was mean, petty, and dead wrong. My cousin Ethan is one of the hardest working, most successful people I know. He built his business from the ground up, no shortcuts, and I mocked him for it. That's on me, and I'm sorry to him and everyone I hurt with that attitude. Real success isn't tied to a degree. It's about effort. And Ethan, if you're watching, thanks for calling me out. I needed it. She stopped the video, posted it without hesitating, and tucked her phone away. I blinked. That was unexpected. She shrugged. I deserve to feel embarrassed. You did, for years. It's only fair. For the first time in forever, I saw her not as Lily the star, but as a young woman trying to unravel herself from the pedestal her family built, and maybe one she'd built herself. You're lucky I'm not petty, I said with a small smile. She smirked. Don't tempt me. We talked for another hour, not about money, jobs, or family drama. Just life. Places we'd been, books we'd read. We'd never shared these small things, always too busy competing or avoiding each other. When we stood to leave, she hugged me. Not a quick pat, but a real, quiet hug. The kind that says, I get it now. A week later, my mom called. Did you see the video? She asked, voice tentative. I did. She didn't even tell us she was posting it. She didn't need to. I'm proud of you, she said, voice heavy with regret. And I'm sorry for how I talked about your work, for not listening, for not asking. I didn't gloat. I didn't rub it in. I just said, thanks. The next family gathering was Uncle Mark's Independence Day barbecue a month later. I showed up in jeans and a tee, as always, but this time no one handed me a vest or asked me to fix the grill. Lily walked over, handed me a plate piled with food, and said, You're sitting with me. So I did. No speeches, no banners, no toasts, just laughter, stories, and a strange sense of balance I hadn't felt in years. When someone asked what I did for a living, Lily jumped in. He runs a multi-million-dollar online brand. It's wild. You should see his operation. The silence that followed was perfect. No snickers, no smirks, just nods and curious questions. I answered a few, smiled politely, and kept the rest to myself. Because they wanted to know, and I didn't need them to. The Honda was returned. Lily started at a nonprofit doing work that mattered to her, not her parents. Aunt Lisa and Uncle Mark stopped hitting me up for cash. My mom still doesn't get what I do, but she brags about me like I invented Wi-Fi. I still keep that spreadsheet, not out of spite, but as a reminder of where I started and what I no longer owe. They say success is the ultimate revenge. I think clarity is better. After all that noise, silence is the sweetest sound. Thanks for diving into this messy family saga with me. If you're hooked on these kinds of stories, stick around for more.